Thank you very much. Hope everyone's doing great. Today it's like almost tea time, or have your tea. So I won't keep you too long. We won't keep you too long. We try to keep this on track. Before we start, I wanted to just quickly, since we're talking a lot about machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning, quick anecdote to demonstrate the power of deep learning, right? So my name is Pramad. That's the name I've been given. I live in the United States, and for the most part, I've gotten used to people saying Pramad as I was being introduced here. You stretch the last syllables. It's people from the U.S. and Punjabis, Pramad. That's what I get called. But whenever I try to come to India, I try to see if maybe I get my name's pronounced the same way that it was intended to be pronounced. But right from the airport immigration officer to when I checked in, to the taxi driver, to many people here, look at my card, go P-R-A-M-A-D, Pramod. So, I know there are a bunch of Pramods here too, potentially, but that's the power of deep learning, right? Essentially, we want to. It's so ingrained here that it's Pramod is the name, although you see the spelling. So just wanted to kick off the discussion with that small anecdote. But to get us into this discussion with these three amazing leaders, have a lot of insight in the topics we're going to talk about today. Wanted to first direct my first question to you, Valerie. How do you think GenAI will or has impacted the industry sector now and in the near future, as far as your experience goes?
Thank you for this question. So just first of all, in a minute, a bit of introduction. I had discussion with a guest at the lounge for speaker, and he told me, you don't need to introduce Dassault Systèmes, everyone knows you in the room. Still, just a reminder, indeed, Dassault Systèmes, we are the software company, leader in 3D design, product lifecycle management, and we are working with all the industry sector. Why this introduction? Just to make sure that indeed, when I will be talking about GenAI, I will be talking about mostly how it impacts our industry customers, the manufacturing sector. GenAI will definitely have a strong impact on software development, but it will have a bigger impact on engineering R&D of the manufacturing sector. And this is what we need to get ready for, because we cannot forget this part. We tend to talk a lot about GenAI for software development. It will be 10% of the impact. 90% of the impact will be on engineering R&D. And so what will be this impact? We believe in Dassault Systèmes, so when we talk about GenAI, we think about three pillars. The first pillar, indeed, is how GenAI will foster the space of possibilities. With GenAI integrated in 3D design solution, integrated in product design solution, we will be able, indeed, to get out of our human bias about imagination, creativity, shapes, geometry, material science possibility, molecule possibility, because indeed GenAI will assist to millions of combinations that is beyond our possibility as human. Yet, indeed, this space of possibility will be proposal for us as humans to make decisions. The second pillar will be about assisting in complex decision making. More and more, the systems that we are building are becoming more and more complex. Talk about the automotive sector, for example. When we talk about a system for the automotive sector, we talk not only about the car anymore, we talk about autonomous driving, we talk about city data, and these complex systems sometimes also are difficult to apprehend. GenAI, with the flow of data, will help us get the right information at the right time to be really more efficient in this complex navigation of system. And finally, it will assist humans as making the best decision possible between creativity, complexity, and purpose about the experience that we want to make. So in our regard, yes, it will automate some tasks, but it will provide more opportunity for people to be more efficient in creativity, complexity, and ultimately decision-making. Because the decision-making, specifically in the industry, is definitely will be assisted by AI, but will be assisted by AI, not made by AI. And finally, AI also, obviously, in the industry will be very specific because it will be AI that should be trustable, reliable, traceable. We cannot stand approximation in the industry. We need to understand why a system comes to this conclusion. We need to have traceability. So this will be also a very specific impact for the industry.
Thank you, Valerie. So just to follow up on that, Bindu, you want to add some insights around the same topic?
When we talk about the automotive industry right now, and just to confess to the audience, I called Pramod twice today, so yeah, so I'm one of those people, yeah. So apologize for that, yeah. But coming to the topic, when we talk about the car, it's so confusing. Nobody talks about a car as a car anymore, right? It's what are the comfort features? What does it feel like? How does it look like? Does it have an AI assistant inside it? It's got ADAS systems in it, and everything that you talk about, it's connected, right? And when we look at this space, then we say it's connected. What it entails is that the software stack that goes into it becomes very complex. And the software enablers that build this stack become even more complex and even more wider. So in the space of algorithm development, software development, data, we're talking about tons of data with connected vehicles, with the multiple sensors that come in to take us through multiple levels of autonomous driving, right? In all of this, what we are seeing is fundamentally nobody wants to really do the design grounds up anymore. It's too expensive, it's not making sense, and you will see a lot of JDAs, with joint development between tier ones, OEMs, all of that going on because it is a very expensive, let's say, endeavor to reach anywhere that you can put a car on the road, right? So when we talk about algorithm development, software development, let's say simulation environments, data analysis, data storage, the entire ETL, the whole piece, right? I don't see how we can avoid foundation models. I don't speak now only generative AI. I also speak about foundation models because you want to start at a certain level. So that might be something that we have to come to terms with, that the old ways of doing this have suddenly, overnight, just shifted.
Thank you, Bindu. And Sudha, along with software, to support the complex computing, we need very complex hardware. So
Yes.
can you offer your insights around that?
Yes, I'm living through this journey as part of the solutions. I work on generative AI solutions also. So I would put it as threefold, right? In any industry, or particularly my industry where you asked. AI in, AI on, and AI for, right? Let me speak a sentence about each. AI in is how do you build that intelligence, machine intelligence into your products. For example, build AI into the infrastructure so that the battery lives longer. IOPS are faster, right? So no data loss, right? Look at those kind of things where AI can be used. That is AI in for me. AI on, there are going to be tons of AI workloads. Generative AI, the size of the models are huge. 20 billion is a normal number, 70 billion is something that we look at. That's the kind of data sets that are available. And for that, the infrastructure has to keep up, right? We are talking about NVIDIA GPUs, very high speed. Everybody is into that. All the chip makers are getting into the GPU bandwagon. That is AI in. Now, AI for, right? Valerie and Bindu talked about examples. As a software developer, you want code generation, right? You want help on code generation. You want help on reviews. If you are doing something related to services, there are a lot of tasks which could be helped by generative AI. Even as a developer, you could be asking a lot of questions and getting responses, speeding up your development speed. As Bindu mentioned, nobody starts grounds up. We don't want to reinvent the wheel that you do everywhere, right? There are developer forums, but now it becomes even more easier to search and get answers. So in all these three areas, it's very important that we have generative AI and move towards it.
Thank you. Great insights there. Then to follow up on that, Bindu, do you see, for product development activities specifically, do you see generative AI playing a role? How and where do you see that as we evolve from more of a traditional product development lifecycle to more AI-driven?
So everybody in the room knows the answer is yes, we do see. I just talked a little bit about it. But I think we're still grappling to find out where all it's going to come in and make sense. When we say that, yes, it is automation on steroids, it's basically that what you would take a lot of time, where you used to spend a lot of time collecting the data or the information you needed before you started a design. A lot of that becomes quite faster. You can actually see data and use analytics to be able to say, okay, am I ready to start the design? And then even the design is also bootstrapped for you, right? But this is, and I can only speak with respect to what I see now at the current levels of the foundation models, right? I can see that, okay, I'm able to reach maybe the first MVP or the first design much faster. What is not clear to me yet, and I think that is going to be what all the industry is going to come and discuss or having to figure out, is what will it take to take your first set of designs to the production level code, right? Because the second you talk about production level code, then you're talking about optimizing it for the edge or for the environment that is where it is meant to work. And that has a lot of constraints in it. Either there are compute constraints, or there are memory constraints, or whatever, safety constraints. There's so many things that you need to actually figure out before you can put something into its target production environment. And that's where I feel it's going to get a bit more complicated. And we have to see how it evolves, yeah? At some point, maybe it also figures it out, right? Because contextual learning is what it does. But the intent is that we're going to have these two going along, your first bootstrapping design enabled by the foundation models, and then how do you fine-tune it? We're still going to get a lot of domain-heavy engineering that's still required. Yeah, so that's a little bit of that.
Thank you. And Valerie, do you want to add a little bit from your standpoint?
So now talking not about the impact on our customer, industry manufacturer, but on ourselves as a software development company, definitely for us the objective will be to add GenAI capability to every software solution that we have. For example, 3D design, indeed, it's about assisting the design process to be able to propose alternative. One of the demos that we do quite often is a demo for the car industry, where we have been working with car manufacturers for a long time, and they have a patrimony of 3D assets in their company. And so with our engine, AI engine, we are able to propose a new car based on specification related to cost, based on specification related to material. And so indeed, the solution can propose a new car concept. And so then it's about arbitration regarding cost and so on. So it's about, indeed, not just automating tasks, it's about expanding proposal. In Dassault Systèmes, this is a strong belief that we have as a digital company, digital tech player, which is that the digital technology have two main values. People tend to think that the main value is too much optimization, automation, doing faster the same thing. We believe that digital technology main value is about innovation, doing something new, expanding the scope of possibilities. And with GenAI, it will be exactly the same. It will allow to automate and optimize some processes to be faster, more efficient, but most importantly, it will help to expand possibility, expand creativity, expand innovation. And this will be the real impact because it will make innovation more accessible. So for us as software development company, it's about putting GenAI in all the solutions that we are offering to achieve those two purposes of expanding innovation and creativity and helping with optimization of any processes.
Yeah. Thank you. So as we continue to talk about generative AI as a disruptive force going into the industries, right? So it's also, the impact is also going to be felt on skill sets and roles, changing roles for folks who are supporting these industries. So Sudha, you want to give us a little commentary on how you feel we can adapt to that?
Yeah, so definitely the skills are required as companies move towards AI. We need people with good data scientists, good machine learning and deep learning experts. That, of course, is a given. But that's a niche skill, right? You don't actually wake up tomorrow and say, I'll hire only these kind of people. So there is a lot of upskilling required, right? The hiring practices are not going to change drastically just because there is AI. Of course, AI can be applied to hiring practices, but what are we looking for? Good domain skills, learnability, culture fit, team player, all that will remain. But the most important one I mentioned was learnability. So what we look for when you're moving up this AI bandwagon or marching into that is someone who is very adaptive, who is able to learn new things pretty quickly. Now, that's important because I know that many of the colleges have a specialized AI ML course. I was surprised to see that, right? And it's a welcome change, but I didn't see the syllabus very different when I saw that last year. I didn't see the syllabus very different from the computer science except for 1 or 2 specialized subjects. So at campuses, we can hire such people, but we need to invest in upskilling the existing workforce as well as any lateral hire. As we do this, right, we are sitting here as leaders. I'm sure there are many more managers here, right? What should the managers be looking for? What should the leaders be looking for? All of us need to get AI literate, as we call, right? It's very important to understand. Second, it's very important to sharpen your change management skill. The change is coming very, very quickly. So it becomes very, very important to understand what is that change. The third aspect, remember there is a lot of data in AI, and every other day you hear about data breach, customer data compromised, our own data compromised. Nobody wants that, right? Privacy, data privacy, cybersecurity, those are important skills to an organization as you get more and more into AI. And last but not the least, most important, the ethical aspects of AI. We need education on that, the cultural aspects and the ethical aspects of AI. That's a necessary skill that all of us need to have, not just as leaders, but each and every employee. So I feel these are very important things. It's not a revolution like any new technology. We have to do change management, we have to learn, we have to upskill. But in AI, you have to be cognizant of security of the data, privacy of the data, the ethics part becomes very, very important. That's all I can say.
Thank you, Sudha. Valerie, anything you can add to this?
Yes, I will just add that skills, and I fully agree with you on all of it. Also, what we tend to call soft skills that needs to become hard skills, which is critical thinking. Because indeed, we will be offered solution, we will be offered proposal. So we need to sharpen our critical skill thinking more than ever. And this is for me something that I have quite not yet point out is definitely there will be a complexity that we cannot apprehend that will be apprehended by machine. And there will be conclusions that will be taken that we need to make decision on. And so we need indeed to understand at least, if not the full process of how the conclusion was made, the characteristic. You mentioned the ethic, but the ethics and the rule behind AI to come to a conclusion, GenAI to come to a conclusion because it allows us to critique this conclusion and ask for other options. So we will be the one driving GenAI, but we need to sharpen really this critical thinking. Also, obviously, for me, it's about agility. You highlighted it more than ever. We need to be agile. And I like to say that it's funny enough that we talk about machine learning, deep learning. You know, learning is not a skill just for machine. Learning in itself is a skill, and more than ever, it needs to be a skill for human. So as much as we do machine learning, we need to do human learning, because we will learn throughout all our life. And frankly, I find this very exciting. You know, people tend to think, okay, that's going to be, you know, tough. Well, I'm eager and I'm learning every day. I think as leader, we are learning every day without even knowing it. We need to be more proactive learning in some domains to be able to embrace this change. And finally, in my role in Dassault Systèmes, I am here to build partnership with academic institution and industry. More than ever, this will be critical because we need to be very close together to make sure that we can do upskilling program at a very fast pace, because more than ever, agility will be about pace as well. And so it's about connecting the one who are teaching, providing training, and connecting the one who are needing it, knowing what they need in their industry, because we will need to get to speed.
Thank you, Valerie. Real quick,
can I just add just
sure.
one? Because you mentioned human intelligence. Yesterday, there was a news item about an astronaut visiting India, someone who's been at a space station for 6 months. It caught my attention because he said, I don't think AI will work in a space station. He gave a reason because there's a lot more human intelligence required considering the complexity of the systems, and maybe AI will come someday when it can understand all that. But today, the environment I'm in, I won't trust AI for my environment, right? That's what he said.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point because, you know, Bindu and I were talking about that as where, you know, AI and generative AI is very successful in situations where you have a large amount of data from past experience, right? So in situations like that you mentioned, and even you, Bindu, were talking about very specific scenarios that you looked at that potentially AI might not be able to be as beneficial because the experience level is not there in the data itself to provide a very accurate solution. To further go along this workforce training, upskilling question, one of the things that we talked about, Bindu, is the fact that, you know, along with product companies and startups and companies that are looking at AI, new generative AI solutions as their own secret sauce, right? There's a lot of IP involved. People want to keep that IP within themselves. So for companies like ours, Actalent Services, which is services-based engineering services, and I'm sure there are a lot of partners here that are from services companies, how do you see this playing out for talent suppliers like ourselves?
I think I had my answer better fitted for product companies because I'm struggling a little bit with the service side, yeah? So when we talk about engineering services, right? A lot of what we thought was fundamental linear revenue streams, headcount is equal to certain amount of revenue. And so I have linear revenue mapped to the number of headcount I'm able to deploy and get that, right? That gets a little bit challenged in the sense that how will these business models evolve, right? Tasks that you thought would take so much time or this much effort suddenly become half because we're talking about, or maybe the base set of tasks that we used to do, where a lot of our volume play was. That is, I would predict or hypothesize that is going to come down, or you just get to do it faster. And so what would be your pricing models for some of this? This becomes something that you will have to go back and look at it for your use case, right? I find that this outside-in view becomes very important. Everybody is talking foundation model, generative AI, transformer networks. You say it, it's all over the place. But for your use case or for your business value, you need to be able to figure out which one works best for you. Do you want to use it as it is, right? Or do you want to fine tune it for your business use case? And For the engineering services kind of businesses, you want to ask yourself, what will I do with all the freed up capacity, assuming that all works for you and you're able to bring it all to work well. But what do I do with this freed up capacity? Can I lift that to the next level of offering? Right? Because now you're sort of boosted up to the next level, because what we used to think is write software code of a great quality, right? That suddenly becomes achievable. And then a lot of work like testing for code, like, you know, static analysis, testing, software verification, a lot of that gets simplified, especially if you have fine-tuned some of those models to suit your data. I'm not talking about very proprietary data where these models haven't seen and they're not able to figure out. You should ignore those pieces, yeah? So engineering services, tough one. I don't have the answer. We have to see how it evolves. For product companies, I do believe that becomes a fundamental shift you need to take. You don't want to, like I said earlier, you don't want to do this from scratch. So you need to be able to automate an evaluation system of which foundation model works for you, find out will you use it as it is, or how do you fine tune this thing. Please take into account that while it appears to work okay for what you test case it for, sometimes it doesn't work at all, right? Because we don't know what it was trained on. And so you have to have a way to see, does this really work for you in your production use case? Now, the one piece that we need to be careful about is it's costly, yeah? While you may say my headcount numbers come down, I first thought I needed 5 data scientists for this, and now I need just 2 because I'm building further. I'm fine-tuning it further. But you need to think about your compute. You need to think, what is it going to take 1 trillion nodes training? Because I chose this particular foundation model, and you need to find out, can you afford it, right? And is that the one? So there's a lot of commercial evaluations to be done when you go into this kind of a thing. And I think primarily you are looking for business cases which, or you're looking for models which suit your business cases. And if you're not able to find them, then you probably don't have it yet until you are able to get something that suits you. So I would only advise, don't force fit yourself to choose one ahead of time, because it will turn out to be costly.
Thank you. That's great insight there. I'm sure it helps a lot of us out there. Another aspect of, and this is probably the last discussion we'll have, is it's on many people's minds, right? How will this disruptive technology, potentially reducing the need for certain engineering roles, how will it reduce high-tech jobs, right, overall? And if that's the case, will it impact India as a major technology player? So is there any insights you can offer? Maybe we can start with Valerie.
I think that with any technology disruption, there is always this concern, and it's been the case for every industry revolution, right? This is what we call, disruptive creation or destruction and creation. I think there is a god for that in India, who is both responsible for destruction and creation. Shiva. And so I really like that, because I think that the fact that she's responsible for the two, this is exactly, at every strong cycle, we fear about destruction, but construction, creation will come as well. For high-tech job, for example, very concrete example. What GenAI, for me, is a key focus that we should all collectively have is how we create value from GenAI capabilities. GenAI will have an impact on all marketing jobs. You have seen ChatGPT, with ChatGPT just today, you can create a great marketing pitch for any kind of product. Think about all the startups out there that didn't have those capabilities, didn't know, marketing. Now, an engineer, it's not the best skill of engineers to do marketing. has the ability to do a marketing pitch for its product. So it will go much faster. It's expanding the skills that people can have rather than just displacing them, replacing them. Another example, with Renault, I heard that there were some people on Renault in the room. Engineering connecting to finance, you know. The best skill of engineers is not finance, and sometimes this is an issue, right? And so with Renault, with the flow of data and GenAI, we are able to provide proposal at the design phase of what are the best decisions to make regarding material to be used and where to get them. So this is the kind of value that we will be able to create, is that we will be able to grow our skills from disciplines that are not our core disciplines. And this is a complete shift, you know, so it's not just how it will replace high-tech jobs, it's how it will empower people with core skills to have an understanding of others' domain and create overall a broader value.
Thank you very much. Sudha, anything to add to that?
I may sound very cliche with this, but I'm just seconding what she said. Technology doesn't take away, how would I put it, right? Women, right? A generation ago, 2 generations ago in the kitchen were tied to the kitchen because there were no automated tools. Pressure cooker, mixer grinder, all brought us out, and today we have rocket scientists here, right? Besides ourselves. Right, so that way I don't see this as a disruptor, I see this as a transformer, right? Many times in the industry, we ask our team members to innovate, innovate, innovate. Now, the answer is, hey, I am day in and day out tied to this regular mundane job to get this release out very quickly. Where do I have time? Where do I have time to think beyond this, think for the next whatever innovation that I need to file a patent? No time. GenAI makes it easier. Now, there is a lot of data available, right? The way we use it differently, the way we use it to make things easier, to innovate better, that's important. Telemetry from every corner, it's extremely important. That's why I said it's transforming, not disrupting. We need to upskill, we need to be ready. India has to be ready, both in terms of skills, government policies, and I said both, but several things. It is extremely important for a change in mindset. We shouldn't have that Luddite mindset that, hey, AI will come and take my job away, so I should not be looking at it. As a leader, I should be resisting it. So that's the mindset change that is extremely important. Like any new technology, let's embrace, let's use it, let's make sure it's not misused anywhere.
Thank you, Sudha.
I would like to just contextualize it a bit. With respect to what I see that's coming in terms of what are the skills we need. I don't know if the room can guess which are the hardest people to find. Is it in the managerial cadre or is it in the technology cadre?
Technology.
Yeah, so we're talking about people who, when I say managerial cadre, I mean people who can manage or enable very heavy tech teams, right? And that is a very unique skill. And I am not able to find them. Because you need to give space to your team, and then you need to know when to diverge and go in an exploratory path and when to converge, right? So managers become leaders. They have to have a feel now that what does this technology mean for them? What are the business KPIs that they are looking for? And don't go drastic, extreme left, extreme right? Have a realistic understanding of what you expect from this new, this new transformation that's coming. And then what does that change for your team? How earlier you thought maybe I needed extreme deep data scientist know-how. 5 of them, the rest of them are maybe more broader application engineers, data scientists kind of a thing. But what's happening now is that maybe you need less numbers, right, at the deep levels. But maybe they need to be scaled up even further in terms of understanding the foundation model and how to make it work for this product. So we are seeing it not bringing down the skill level, but actually pushing you further because you need to make this thing work for you, right? Your management seems to think it's the elixir to life or it's the silver bullet, and you need to see what do you want from this. And so finding this also, it is going to shift the distribution of competencies even in the technology teams, and that's something that we have to understand. Last point, which I feel is very fundamental for a product company, is we will struggle probably to find the people who can see how to put a solution together. So they bring in the constraints of the systems that it's going to be deployed in. They have a lot of domain expertise, but they are also driven and pushed by technology. And how do you bring this all together to make this product successful? These guys, typically known as product owners or product managers, you know, they are the ones who are, or girls who do this, yeah? They are the ones who I find very hard to find. Because they bring in, they know technology, but they also know the domain problem space. And you will find as you go through your journey looking and building these teams, you will find that those are the ones that actually transform a business requirement into something that has lasting value. Yeah, so that was my take.
Thank you very much. As much as this has been a very riveting conversation, I think we are running out of time. I've got a time's up message. So a big round of applause, please, for these amazing leaders here. They've offered up some great insights. Hopefully it's been really helpful for you guys. And anything more after this, you can, hopefully be able to reach out to them directly and get more info. Thanks a lot.
For more content on tech and leadership, subscribe to NASSCOM YouTube channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.